Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the national anthem.
Seventh Induction Ceremony of the Oakville Sports Hall of Fame. On behalf of the board of directors, I'm happy to welcome you tonight. And it looks like we have a pretty good gathering. And we also have probably the biggest returning group of inductees that we've had in a number of inductions. If I'm not mistaken, there's about 14 out here. We are very proud of the Sports Hall of Fame of our inductees. We're also proud of the fact that they represent, in total, 17 different sports, which is quite a thing for a small town to be that good in so many sports. However, they're in any kind of order here, I'm not sure, but what I'll do is I'll read their names, and then if you'll just wave your arm, and if Dan can not knock Sandra down when he raises his arm, it'll be okay. But we have, from curling, John Bass. And soccer, Phil Iafredi. From Taekwondo, Mike Morningstar. Tennis's Chris Pridham. Football, Dan Ferroni. And our Winter Olympian, Maria Jelinek. Soccer's Michelle Huchin. Swimming, Melanie McKay. Golf, Sandra Post. Hockey, Rob Zeminer. The shining head at the back. The only guy's got a shinier head than me. Basketball and gymnastics, Wayne Hussey. Hockey, Vic Hadfield. And paddling, John Wood. And another paddler who will take over as your Master of Ceremonies, Larry King. So I don't think I've missed anybody. And so this is an already graduated group of inductees. The rest you will see later on in the program. Thanks, folks.
So the best part of the evening is about to start when we get to meet our inductees. They're a distinguished group, and we're very, very proud to honor them tonight. And traditionally what we do is I don't say a whole lot. What we do is we direct our attention to the big screen, and we meet each inductee, and then they get up and say a few words and accept their plaque and their plate. So, without any further ado, let's direct our attention to the big screen and meet our first inductee.
Tom Fergus was born in Chicago and raised in Montreal, Quebec, where his love of hockey began. After minor hockey in the Montreal area, he played in the Ontario Major Junior Hockey League with the Peterborough Petes, where he recorded 102 points over 2 seasons. The Boston Bruins made Fergus the 60th player selected in the 1980 National Hockey League draft, and he made the team as a 19-year-old. Steady play enabled Fergus to enjoy a solid rookie pro season, as he contributed 15 goals and 39 points in 61 games. He now faced every second-year player's worst fear, the sophomore jinx. Fergus responded by producing big numbers, with 28 goals coupled with 35 assists for 63 points. Tom also took pleasure in scoring his first NHL hat trick in Montreal. In the 1984-85 season, Fergus spent most of the season as Boston's top center and set career highs with 30 goals and 43 assists for a total of 73 points. Traded to the Toronto Maple Leafs in 1985, Fergus became the Leafs' top center and continued with his fine play with 31 goals and 42 assists, matching his career high of 73 points. Tom played 7 seasons with the Toronto Maple Leafs, with injuries probably preventing him from becoming an all-time Leaf great. For Toronto, he recorded 118 goals and 179 assists for a total of 297 points. In 1992 and 1993, Tom finished his NHL career with the Vancouver Canucks. In his 13-year career, he had amassed a total of 816 points, 235 goals, and 581 assists. After 2 more professional hockey seasons in Switzerland, Tom retired and returned to Oakville, his home of the last 20 years. He took over the coaching duties of the Oakville Blades. He continues to coach minor hockey and some girls softball in Oakville, where he resides with his wife and children. Please welcome 2010 Oakville Sports Hall of Fame inductee, Tom Fergus.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to see so many familiar faces. A lot of those people I haven't seen this quiet for a long time, especially Floppy out there. I'd like to congratulate all the inductees. I'd like to begin by saying what a great surprise and honor it is for me to be here today before you. Stop looking at me like that, Randolph. I've always been proud to say I live in Oakville. I'm even more now. It's a friendly, welcoming community surrounded by great people. I'm glad to have had the privilege of raising my 4 children here. Oakville has provided them with great opportunities. I'd like to thank my parents, of which my mother's here, praying that I don't say anything a little bit outrageous. I'd like to thank her and my dad for their overwhelming support throughout my career and life. I've always thought that the greatest lessons in life were learned from being the youngest boy of a family of 7. I got abused on many days, but I always fought back, and it definitely helped me along the way. My parents were always supportive and encouraged me to always try my best. They were content simply by watching us play and weren't overly concerned with whether we won or lost. I say overly because they were a touch concerned, but certainly not like the parents of today. After the game, they always had something good to say, and it was just dependent on how much or how the game went. But they never said anything bad. I didn't know there was anything bad in hockey until I grew up and really saw what it was like. I have to tell one quick story that, again, it was interesting to be able to stand up here and supposed to talk about myself. I've never been good at that. Not a word from all the hockey boys that see me every Wednesday night. I have to tell one story. I was in Boston, and my parents, I said they were always dedicated, and they always came and looked after my well-being. They made it to 53 games one season. That means 2 of them were in Toronto. So just to show you how much they followed and stayed up with it, and they didn't even do a lot of bitching because we didn't win much back then. I would also like to thank my darling wife, Judy, wherever she went. overcoming the most difficult task is putting up with me for 24 years. Being a great wife and a great friend. And she smells good. Throughout my career, I've had the privilege of playing from some amazing coaches. They all had something different to offer. Thanks to Pat Quinn, Mike Keenan, and Jerry Cheevers, it's helped me to help the kids when I get a chance to coach. Although they frickin' drive me crazy, I grab a little bit of what I learned from all these guys to help them along. I added the friggin' because a lot of guys out there are saying I won't get through this speech without swearing. When I look out and see many friends who have come tonight, I'm deep gratitude for your support. I'm as surprised as you are that I'm sitting here and you're listening. But I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming. Thank you very much. Not every day I get a mic. When I walk away, I'm done. I would like to extend a special thanks to Mr. Oakville himself, Dan Ferroni, and Wayne Hussey for their extra work in making this night a special occasion for me and my family and friends. Finally, I'd like to I'm thankful for what sports have contributed to my life. I've met great friends, I have great memories, I've learned many life lessons through this sport. Learned the importance of dedication and being committed as a member of a team. In closing, I would like to thank you very much for this award. It's a great honor to be included in this event. Thank you for all the committee members that took the time and put on a great evening. Thank you very much.
So we met our first inductee, time to meet our second. Again, if you direct your attention to the big screen, we'll meet our next inductee.
Born in Sudbury in 1945, John Gilbert has made a considerable contribution to the sport of badminton, specifically as a coach at various levels of competition in Oakville, Ontario, Canada, and internationally. His prominence in the sport as a coach has contributed to the development of players who won more than 70 provincial championships, 6 Canadian junior titles, 7 national, and 4 Commonwealth championships. John was also the national head coach for the Thomas Cup, the Men's World Team Championships, in 1979, 1982, and 1984. John Gilbert resided in Oakville for approximately 20 years, and during those years in Oakville, he developed an exceptional and unparalleled badminton program at the Oakville Club. Under his coaching expertise, the Oakville Club produced 19 provincial junior champions under the age of 14, 23 provincial junior champions under the age of 16, 17 provincial junior champions under the age of 18, 10 provincial champions, 6 Canadian junior champions, 7 Canadian, and 4 Commonwealth champions. In addition to developing hundreds of players in Oakville, John has helped to develop the skills of many of today's coaches, both in Oakville and across Ontario and Canada, and provided direct assistance and advice to others in the building of their own programs. John Gilbert has achieved the highest levels of coaching certification and has conducted numerous sessions for certifying coaches at all levels. In addition, he has published several articles on men's and mixed doubles strategies for developing international caliber players. To honor his significant contribution towards the development of the sport of badminton and for the positive impact he has had on hundreds of players, John Gilbert has been granted a life membership in the Oakville Club, has been inducted as a coach into the Canadian Badminton Hall of Fame and the Oakville Sports Hall of Fame. Please welcome 2010 Oakville Sports Hall of Fame inductee, John Gilbert.
Ladies and gentlemen, John's awards will be presented by Jack Kent.
John, it's my pleasure
present you with this award, and congratulations.
I've only got 7 pages here, I want to say, so it shouldn't take too long. I'd like to thank Bob Labette. We've had a lot of problems here getting this thing off the ground, and making contact with me. I'm no longer in Oakville, I'm over in Ayr, but eventually we did it. I'd like to thank Jack for what he had to say, and I'd like to thank Jack because when I came to Oakville, I think I lived at his house basically for 2 years. All weekends, occasionally during the week and so forth, and forgot about the job in Toronto. That was immaterial. But Jack and his family were very, very important to me. Anyway, you can't build a program. I'm in the builder category. I'm not a player. But you can't build a program without some knowledge and skill learned from others. I have my beginnings from my only coach, Ev Staples, from Creighton Mine up near Sudbury. He was never a player, but he had an acute eye for biomechanics and basic strategy. And my second great mentor was the great Ethel Marshall of Buffalo, who said little, but carried the biggest and smartest racket I ever did see in my life. Unbelievable. At 70, she was still beating people, 30, 20, never gave up, never stopped, believed that the human body was capable of going on and on and on, and proved it. Eventually, at the Oakville Club, I became a member. I set out to coach the children, and together with their parents, we set out to shape Canada's badminton scene into the future. I must mention 2 people here who were key. Jack's wife, Deanne, who managed to get on the telephone, and you know what it's like getting billeting. She billeted 125 kids on a weekend every year for our tournament for, I don't know, 10 years, 12 years. And without it, we simply couldn't have run it. And secondly, Nancy DeBell, Dave and Mike's mom, who was our in-house physio. We had our own basic medical system all set up. I was lucky. The players believed in me, even when I wasn't sure myself. The Ontario and National Association watched in awe as these players, some of them here tonight, the table there at 22 would just stand up. There's Commonwealth Games winners there, there's national winners, there's Ontario winners, there's national team members, just an incredible group of kids. They rewrote Canadian badminton history in a way that has never been duplicated. Within 5 years, these players of ours have won the National Senior Open titles, and within 10 have won bronze and silver medals at the Commonwealth Games and represented Canada internationally in the Thomas Cup, badminton's equivalent to the Davis Cup. Meanwhile, our younger kids, Tracy and Leanna, toured Denmark and Sweden and Norway, making lifelong friends, lifelong experiences. I won't get into the question of the boot that Steve was talking about tonight, but shall we say that they had a wonderful time in Denmark. The NCCP, the National Coaching and Certification Program, was taking form in roughly the same time period. And inevitably, the provincial and national associations wanted to know what we were feeding our kids. And so, for better or for worse, I told them, and became involved in the NCP, writing sections of badminton manuals in the first level 3-1, as well as becoming a master course conductor at levels 1, 2, 3, level 4 coach. In the same time period, I had the great good fortune to coach national teams at individual world and team events. It took me to England, Japan, Germany, Hong Kong, Denmark, Thailand, Singapore, Indonesia, and Malaysia. And those countries dominated badminton, and so it was quite an experience. It was also too much, and I stepped back. The Oakville Club graciously presented me with a life membership, and since then, no other club in Canada, despite full-time coaches, has ever achieved such provincial, national, and international prominence. In Toronto, some years later, I set up a small program for children, teens, primarily of East Asian descent. They have also gone on to do well. 10 to 15 medals at various levels, but they were not like my brash Oakville crew with its huge provincial, national, and international medal achievement. I'd like to give you 3 examples of the kids that I dealt with. Wonderful kids that did wonderful things. The first, a 9-year-old boy escaping from Vietnam watched pirates cut off his aunt's finger for her ring. He ended up in the Toronto badminton program. He went on to join the Toronto Police Force and was the first to volunteer as a policeman in a high school in this most recent program. His choice of school where he is trying to make a difference with troubled youth is C.W. Jeffries, where the boy was murdered 2 years ago. This boy, man, has won a national over 35 singles Canadian championship and the 2009 World Police Games badminton singles title. He remains one of my closest friends and a role model for all the kids in that school. Another player wrote to me recently, "Thanks for all your advice over the last 15 years. Thanks for believing in me, and thanks for making me believe in myself." Could anyone ask for a more moving accolade? And finally, a player who could not make it here tonight wrote, quote, "You've helped so many of us achieve our dreams." He spoke not only for himself, but for the other players. In September, this man won the over 50 World Singles Championship in Australia. Thank you.
Thank you, John. John, you may be interested to hear this email that was delivered to us. Dear John, I was pleased to hear about your induction into the Oakville Sports Hall of Fame. It's been a number of years since we connected, but I remember with great fondness the time that we spent at the Strathgown Badminton Club. You were a strong influence in the badminton community at that time, and I'm pleased that your role in badminton continued to such a high degree. Congratulations once again on this wonderful honor. Yours truly, Sharon Posen, Chief Operating Officer of Canada's Sports Hall of Fame. I thought that was a drum roll. Okay. For our next inductee. If you direct your attention to the big screen again, we'll meet our next inductee. So we're 2 in and 4 to go. This is number 3.
Born in Chicago, Illinois, Dick Grimm reversed the usual flow and came to Canada in 1948 to work in the concrete business. Oakville is glad he did. A resident for 20 years, Dick brought the focus of Canadian golf and the PGA Tour to the town of Oakville. A love of golf brought him to be associated with the Mississauga Golf Club, where he served as chairman of the Canadian Open Golf Championship held there in 1965. He continued his involvement with golf in the Canadian Open and again served as chairman in 1970, 1975, 1977, 1978, 1979, and 1980. During this period, he was instrumental in having the Canadian Open Golf Championship located annually in Oakville at the Glen Abbey Golf Club. The Canadian Open tournament became a feature of the rapidly growing PGA Tour. Grimm spent countless hours cajoling the professional golf stars of the tour to come to Oakville and play in the Canadian Open. He retains friendships with many of these players to this day. Although the Canadian Open was his pet project, Dick also found time to serve as a governor of the Royal Canadian Golf Association from 1969 to 1974 and president in 1974. During this time, the RCGA also relocated their headquarters to Oakville. Dick Grimm was appointed an honorary life governor of the RCGA in 1975. Grimm also served as director of professional tournaments for the RCGA from 1983 to 1993 and commissioner of the fledgling Canadian Golf Tour in 1993 to 1997. Dick Grimm was inducted into the Canadian Golf Hall of Fame in 1993. He has also been honored as an elected member of the Captain's Club at the Memorial Tournament held at the Muirfield Golf Club in Dublin, Ohio. Please welcome 2010 Oakville Sports Hall of Fame inductee, Dick Grimm.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dick's awards will be presented by honored member Sandra Post. Congratulations.
Good evening. I first met Sandra Post when she was in 4th grade. And Sandra at that time was the talk of Oakville because she took her putter to school. A great citizen from our community here in Oakville. I haven't lived here for a long time, but I have very fond memories of Oakville. I'm delighted tonight to have my son and 2 of my grandchildren here. And I'm going to be brief because I'm accepting and very proud to accept a membership in the Hall of Fame here in Oakville. But I want to accept it on behalf of all the volunteers, all of the players, all of the members of the Royal Canadian Golf Association, and all the people at Golf House Now that work so hard to make this game the great game that it is. And suffice it to say that I hope we stay at Glen Abbey for a long, long time. I have one accomplishment that I would bring to your attention. There aren't many who can say they were involved as a volunteer, as an employee, and as a governor of the association that runs golf in Canada. I am there. It's been a pleasure to visit with so many people I haven't seen for a long time. And I'm going to do something you never should do. I'm going to mention a few names, because these are people that are here tonight that deserve to be mentioned. Number one, I've already mentioned Sandra Post. But I will also mention from the RCGA, Scott Simmons and Bill Hall. And the 2 young ladies, Karen Houston and Megan Gardner, who took care of making sure I got here, which was very questionable at all times. However, thank you. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations, Dave.
He was when Sandra Post was in 4th grade.
If you direct your attention to the screen, we'll meet our 4th inductee for 2010.
Andrew Hurd was a resident of Oakville when he began swimming at the age of 8 with the Oakville Aquatic Club. He later trained with Mississauga to benefit from Olympic coaching experience. He attended Oakville Trafalgar High School, graduating in 2001 with Ontario Scholar designation. He received an athletic scholarship for swimming from the University of Michigan in the United States. He graduated from Michigan in 2005 with a degree in civil engineering. During his time at Michigan, he enjoyed a successful swimming career as a 6-time All-American and swam a leg on the NCAA Championship 800-meter relay team. Andrew has represented Canada at 3 Olympics, 2000 in Sydney, 2004 in Athens, and 2008 in Beijing. In 2008, the Canadian freestyle relay team just missed the podium with a 5th place finish while setting a new Canadian record. In spectacular fashion at the 2006 Pan-Pacific Championships, Hurd won a gold medal in the 800-meter freestyle with a Canadian record time. He also earned a silver medal as part of the relay team. At the 2006 Commonwealth Games in Melbourne, Australia, Andrew earned individual podium appearances with silver medals in the 400-meter freestyle and 1500-meter freestyle races. He was also a bronze medal winner in the 2007 World Championships in Melbourne. During the 2004 Canadian Olympic Trials, Hurd set a Canadian record in the 400-meter freestyle event, and in 2005 at the World Aquatic Championships in Montreal, a silver medal in the 4x400-meter relay. Andrew Hurd was recognized in 2005 as Canadian Swimmer of the Year in both distance and relay designations. After the 2008 Olympics and an amazing career, Andrew retired from competitive swimming to pursue business interests. Please welcome 2010 Oakville Sports Hall of Fame inductee, Andrew Hurd.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to start by saying how much of an incredible honor this is for me to be included in such a great group of athletes such as Donovan Bailey and Larry King, just to name a few. I spent most of my childhood in Oakville looking up to these people and trying to emulate them. And to now that I think I'm in the same company is humbling. I have to apologize for coming across a little nervous. I'm not a public speaker. I'm probably a little more nervous for this 3-minute speech than I ever was before any of my 15-minute races. But swimming gave me some great experiences. It allowed me to travel the world, meet people from different places, nationalities, and cultures. I'd like to share one experience when I was 18 in the Sydney Olympics, my first Olympics. This is a country that idolizes swimmers. It's a national sport, and it's an incredible sport. And there's guys like Ian Thorpe and Grant Hackett that are superstars. But my experience in Australia at that first meet, the first meet was really indescribable. It was swimming in front of 30,000 people. It's just overwhelming. The blood rushing through your veins, your heart's pounding. It's an experience I would never trade for the world. Yeah, and I wasn't just lucky to have that one experience. That was the beginning of my career. I had many others throughout that career, and I couldn't have done it without the support that I got. One person I do want to thank was my first coach that really got me to the level that he did, Mark Temple. Unfortunately, he cannot make it here, but I would like to read something that he did write to me. The sport of swimming requires and rewards demonstration of heart and courage with a unique earned experience for all. However, the Olympic Games celebrate two special human qualities: the pursuit of excellent, skill performed with extraordinary enthusiasm. It is indeed an honor to become an Olympian, but 3 times Shirley celebrates the spirit and power of the Olympic dream. May your experience reflect upon your many accomplishments and share the wisdom with others in the years to come. Climbing Mount Olympus is not an easy goal in today's society. It requires the support of a good family, an uncompromising coach, which he really was, and a well-funded, excellent-oriented training environment. But above all, it requires uncommon passion, like a moth to a flame, deep within the heart of a student athlete. And that was a passage from a letter he wrote to me about this accomplishment, which he also stated was just as exciting as me making my first Olympic team for him, which is a great honor, and unfortunately he can't make it, and I do want to thank him specifically. 2 other people that helped me climb Mount Olympus were both my parents. I could never have done this without them, and those are the 3 people that really started off my career. And I would really like to thank them. Finally, I'm going to make this short, and thank everyone here for coming, my friends and family, and for the support. And I also really like to honor or thank the committee here to put on such a great event. Thank you.
Congratulations, Andrew. If you direct your attention to the big screen again, you'll meet our 5th inductee, this one from the sport of hockey.
Bob McKinnon had a positive impact on amateur hockey in Oakville, provincially and nationally, for almost 4 decades. He was born in Maxville, Ontario in 1938 and moved with the family to Oakville at a young age. In his youth, he played minor hockey, but claimed he was not a focused athlete and quit playing hockey at age 14. But hockey was in his blood, and he became involved again as a founder of the Oakville Blades junior team in 1966. After a few years, he then embarked on an administrative career in hockey. He was elected to the board of directors of the Ontario Hockey Association in 1974 and served as a chairman from 1984 to 1986. He was awarded the highest honor of the OHA, the Gold Stick Award, in 1989. He served as chair of the Hockey Development Centre for Ontario and was elected as a Canadian Hockey Association officer in 1991. He was chairman of the CHA from 1990